What secret could destroy your life if it got out? I hit a smallish lottery, about a few million, a little while back and told absolutely no one, family and friends included. I took a bunch of steps to secure my kids' futures and we live a very comfortable but not lavish life. I'm pretty generous with the people around me. I think they just think I'm doing very well career-wise, or something illegal under the table. I justify it by thinking that if this was general knowledge amongst friends and family, it would ruin relationships. My priority needed to be my kids. I am employed by a company that allows people to work remotely. They only hire in specific states in the US. Not only do I not live in one of those states, I do not even live in the US. I am a US citizen but am currently not in the US, and it is because of this job and the shitty economy in the country I am in that I get to live a pretty damned lavish life. For every $1, it is worth about 600% more here because the currency is weak, getting weaker, and it is just cheap as shit to live here anyway. I have been working for months, and I have had some close calls. I screwed up a couple of times, and they questioned me about it. I had to lie. When my, now, wife and I first started dating in college, I got along really well with her best friend. We always just sort of clicked, to the extent that my now wife would even joke that we would be a better couple. I never viewed her as anything more than a friend, and when I first met her, she had a fairly serious long-term boyfriend, so it really wasn't an issue. Fast forward about a year, and my wife and I had a nasty breakup right after Christmas break. I won't go into the backstory since it's long and complicated, but my wife did some things that were kind of cruel and short-sighted, and her best friend actually sided with me, which obviously caused huge rifts between them as well. I was pretty broken up about everything, and one night my future wife's friend showed up at a house party I was at and ended up just holding herself up with me in a corner, listening to me whine and mope and complain while trying to console me. We were both drunk, and at the end of the night I offered to walk her home, something I'd done before, no biggie, and she accepted. When the walk came to an end, she invited me in to talk about it more. I got a little emotional, and she consoled me by bluntly stating that she thought my wife was wrong and was crazy to treat me like this and what a good guy I was and yada yada. We kissed and ended up sleeping together. She was still with her long-term boyfriend. They broke up within a few days of this incident, so we didn't speak for a few days because it was so awkward, but here's where it gets really awkward. My wife and I reconciled about 3 weeks later and ended up dating for another year and a half, spending a year engaged, and getting married. We've been married for 4 years now. Her friend, still her very best friend, maid of honor at the wedding. They talk all the time. We recently went on vacation to Jamaica with her, her new boyfriend, my wife, and me. And no, my wife doesn't know, and I've never told her. Her friend and I have never discussed what happened after that night. When I was about 18, I am 25 now, I was going out with a guy and I got pregnant. I told him, and he said he wasn't ready to have children and that I should get an abortion. That was kind of against my beliefs, but I thought I was in love and was worried he would leave. I was young and thought, what would I do with a child if I could barely look after myself, let alone another little person? I felt like I didn't have much to offer and that it would be better this way. I realize now that I probably wouldn't have been alone, but I was so scared. I won't go into details, but I decided not to have the baby and was given a choice between a medical procedure and a surgical one. I chose the medical option because with the surgical one someone had to pick you up from the hospital afterward, and I didn't want to tell anyone. My boyfriend couldn't pick me up because he didn't drive. With the medical option, I could leave on my own right away. To this day, it is the biggest regret of my life. It still haunts me, and I carry a lot of self-blame. Many years ago, on June 16th, my wife suddenly passed away at home at the age of 34. I was the one who found her, and she'd been gone for at least an hour, if not more, when I did. We'd been together for 11 years. It wasn't perfect, what marriage is, but things had been worse and we're in the process of finally getting better. Being best friends can help you get through the worst of times. I felt guilty that one of my thoughts was, at least now we won't fight over stupid crap that doesn't really matter. For at least 6 months, I was on autopilot. I went to work, did what I had to do to get paid, and just didn't care. I ate a lot of fast food because I didn't want to expend the energy to go to the grocery store. I bought my cats food from Amazon because they deliver it to my front door. Depression is a horrible thing, only now can I look back and realize just how bad it was. It's not every day, but there are times when I think about joining my wife, and then I realized that would just mean other people having to deal with the aftermath of my problems. There are days when I get home from work, unlock the front door, and walk into a quiet house, when I would give up everything I own to have someone there to give me a hug and sincerely ask how my day went and honestly care about my answer. Something so simple as human touch, compassion, and companionship is worth more than anything else in the world. If you've got it, if you have someone who loves you, don't give that up. Don't waste it. Don't be petty or throw it away because of other little things that don't really matter in the grand scheme of life. Some of us wonder if we'll ever get to experience it again. In middle school, I was a teacher's aide. I helped enter grades while the teacher taught, and I graded work. I met up with other teachers' aides and we got an idea. Sell grades. Easy. Nobody else had the power, and we did. We charged to improve overall grades, specific assignments, homework passes. Didn't do your homework? I'll say you did for $10, and zero removal. I charged from $10 to $100, for an F to an A. We had a few customers at first, friends who needed a boost in sports stars. They would ask me for an overall C-level grade point average, a 2.0. I was the ringleader, as well as a hacker. I used my inside access to get the system administrator passwords and used them for classes I didn't have an in on, and for attendance. Skipped school. $10. I split it evenly with my ring, and people came to me for the services. I graduated middle school with a shoebox full of hundreds, and a ring that split. In high school, I started up again, with more teachers' aides, more customers with stronger incentive to pay, and more experience. We catered mostly to sports stars, advanced placement and honors kids, slackers, stoners, and almost everyone. It was word of mouth only, and everyone knew the risks. Tell the wrong person, and we all go down. The goody two-shoes kids never knew. I made at least $300 a week, and that was my cut. We all took the requests, and we split up the cash every Friday. My senior year, around May, I fudged all our records. 1 week to the end. Home stretch. We kept our mouths shut, and on the last day of school, we got all A's and B's. I even changed test scores. We all got into our first-choice colleges, and we had hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank, about 1,000 kids paying, on average, $20 per person per day for 4 school years, plus extra over breaks. I graduated and left, and that's that. My money went toward an expensive car. A bit extreme, but I said that I saved up. I developed an interest in computers at a young age, but in high school that interest went down a bad path. I developed a deep interest in computer hacking. One thing led to another, and by the time I was a sophomore I had amassed quite an arsenal of knowledge of the ins and outs of computer security. I was a master at combining low-level script kiddie tools with my own novel payloads, exploits, and delivery methods. I was getting bored with school, even though I was in all honors classes, and in my free time I went to the school library to break into the school district's network and figure out how to mess with people remotely. I did all sorts of stuff, from messing with people's mouse and keyboard inputs using rogue VNC clients I installed to dumping data off network shares. My crowning achievement was silently exfiltrating password hashes from my teacher's computer to a USB thumb drive while I gave a presentation on the Revolutionary War or something like that from the same thumb drive. These were the days of Windows XP and LM hashes, so it only took a few hours at home to crack them. I lucked out when I discovered that one of the passwords was for a domain administrator account. It was a short string of all lowercase letters. What a joke. If you're not familiar with Windows Server, the domain administrator is the cyberspace equivalent of God. With it you can log into and access every computer and server on the domain or network. I kept going to the library after that and using my newfound privileges to wreak havoc on the network, dumping files, deleting files, creating junk files, and interrupting presentations in the middle of class with fork bombs that opened an infinite number of notepad and calculator windows, and so on. Elementary, middle, and high school were not safe from my lulls. Unfortunately, I got caught red-handed one day when one of the network administrators did a spot audit and noticed a suspicious logon from the library. She must have made some calls, and before I knew it, the principal, with police in tow, walked right up to the back of my chair and took me by total surprise. Since that day I've been much more careful about covering my ass when taking part in any ops. I got expelled almost immediately, and my academic career and prospects for college might have ended right there. To make matters worse, I was looking at several felony charges. But thankfully, the juvenile justice system can be lenient, and my parents pulled some strings and managed to get the cops to drop the charges in exchange for a diversion program, and they also found another school district that was willing to take me. When it came time to apply for college, I flat out lied about my past, answering no to all the questions about criminal charges. I was able to hide all traces of my record at the high school I was expelled from, since my new school transferred all of my courses onto their transcript. As far as anyone knows, I went to one high school for all 4 years and graduated with a squeaky clean record. When I was younger, I was babysat by a couple who kept their kid in a closet, feeding them only dog food and water. I was not the only one being babysat by them. There were about a dozen of us, some of whom I am still in contact with, but I feel like I was the only one who ever noticed. The girl in the closet would repeatedly bang on the door, and if I went near, I would be shooed away by Barbie, her fake name, but the name I knew her by, and her husband, Ken. On multiple occasions I tried to see what was in the closet, with no success. I knew it was another kid in there. I was so sure of it, but at my age I felt like I did not have control, or I did not feel the need to care. Honestly, I do not know why I never spoke my mind. I would often hear screaming coming from Barbie's room, loud banging, and tons of different grunts. Being the oldest of all the babysat kids, about 9, and the rest were definitely under 5, they surely had no clue what the sounds were. I felt really weird going there, and looking back on it, I cannot remember a lot, as I would rather not. Months went by like this until the police finally got involved. I cannot help but feel I could have prevented it, and I feel like I was the only person in the world who had a chance to help that little girl. I am a very large man, 6 feet 3 inches and 250 pounds, built strong. My friends have candidly described me as a walking Mack truck. The problem is I was run out of college because everyone thinks that I physically attacked my girlfriend. This is based on very good people seeing the large bruise on my ex-significant other's face. She was a tiny little thing, 5 feet 4 inches, and maybe 110 pounds soaking wet. Most people would describe her as a puppy in human form. She even had the large, round eyes of one, too. The people who saw it were my friends, the kind of people I would stand in front of gunfire for, and they immediately ran to the authorities to try to protect her. I am so happy they were willing to do it. The kicker is that she, like in every other relationship I have had in my life, was the one abusing me. She would constantly strike me whenever everyone's backs were turned. The mark she had on her face was from when I tried for the last time to defend myself. She slammed her own head into a wall to show me how much control she had. For anyone thinking, you're a big guy, just ignore it. Ask a martial artist sometime whether you really need power to inflict damage. Also, I couldn't defend myself in any way. I would have destroyed her if I tried anything, and that was the last thing I wanted. She turned away the people attempting to give her help, because she wasn't the one being abused. But her goal was reached all the same. It was a smaller college, an everyone knows everyone kind of place, and I couldn't escape this horror. Everyone turned on me. I couldn't convince anyone of what was happening, and she would threaten different things. I almost took my sister's life years ago. She was about 3, and I was maybe 9 to 11 years old. I carried her to the terrace, 5 stories high including the ground floor. Like some dumb idiot, I placed her at the edge of the terrace, above a kind of barricade. There was nothing to protect her from falling, and directly below, 5 stories down, was a concrete path. I do not remember what was so important that I left her dangling there, at the edge. All I remember is she was starting to sway backward, toward the ground. Alarm bells started ringing in my head. I ran and somehow managed to grab her just as she was about to fall. My heart was racing. I hugged her for a really long time, too afraid to let go. To this day, I have not told her, she is 25 now, or my mom. Even typing this still makes me nervous. That height, how a baby could have ended up after a fall like that, how I could have been institutionalized, how my family would have disowned me, how I would have missed watching her grow up, still haunts me. It gave me an irrational fear of carrying babies, even if I am not the one holding them, or even if there is no height involved. I can't stop myself from lying. Half the time I lie about things that don't matter and that I should have just told the truth about, but I can't stop. All the lies I've told, big and small, catch up to me at one point or another and are seriously damaging my life. My parents and brother don't trust me at all anymore because I've done some incredibly stupid things and lied about them. I've also had to do things or tell bigger lies to cover what started as a little white lie. Other people around me who have caught me in a lie don't know how to act around me anymore. I know I need to stop, and I am trying, but the more I try to stop, the more I do it. This is slowly destroying my life and my relationship with my family, and there is nothing I can do about it. This is an odd one, but here goes. My present location. I'm currently estranged from my family and recently got some cash in an insurance settlement. If my mother found out, she'd come running for a share of it so fast it would break the sound barrier. Light traveling from the sun would be like, "Bitch, yo, slow down." I've pretty much had to hide it and become a ghost. Right now, all of my mail comes to a P.O. box, and only 3 people know the address of where I'm staying. And for you enterprising folks who want to track my IP, it routes through a cell tower about 30 miles away from where I actually am. How much I do not care about a lot of people in my life who like me. Co-workers, friends, family. There are a ton of them I just do not care for, and I am just civil with them for convenience. Some of them have done pretty nice things for me, and I am thankful. But there are still some I just do not really like that much. I used to not be like this. I used to try to maintain all the relationships. Now, many old friends who live far away, I do not even make an effort. And I wonder if I ever cared at all. The weirdest part is that in social situations, I am really good at being friendly and feigning interest in people's lives. I have been complimented on being a nice and genuine guy. But there is this resentment I have for many people in my life that I keep hidden. The only people I really care for are a few close friends, my immediate family, and my girlfriend. Other than that, I would rather just be alone. I failed out of college after 2 years because I was lazy and drunk all the time. I then joined the Air Force and was kicked out because of a heart condition I didn't know about. I think about taking my life at least once a week. My fiancée of 4 years broke up with me, and I was so apathetic it didn't bother me. I just calmly collected my stuff and moved out. I can't sleep for more than 3 hours anymore. I'm not sure if I'm depressed or not. I just get up and go to work, then come home. I don't drink anymore, but I smoke almost a pack a day. I just turned 22, and according to a few doctors I'll be lucky to see 30. 40 would be a miracle not explainable by science. I'm going back to college in the fall, so at least before I go my family won't think I'm a total failure. Writing this actually made me cry. This is the first emotion I've had in almost a year. I have been sleeping with my boss's wife for 4.5 years. We have never been caught by anyone, and I do not even think anyone suspects anything. They have a dead bedroom, or at least that is what she has always told me. I believe her. They never go away on anniversary weekends or even do any date nights. She says that most nights he falls asleep way earlier than her and she sleeps in a different room. That is comforting to me because I love her. It all started about 3 months after she was hired to work in the office at the warehouse where we work. He is the warehouse manager and I am the second shift supervisor. Our plant runs 24 hours, that is, 3 shifts. She works in the sales office. I was working in the office and trained her to take my position as I was moving on to be the plant supervisor. She started hitting on me right out of the gate, but I did not think it was anything more than a flirtatious personality. She was out of my league from my perspective, not to mention married to the guy who was about to be my direct boss. But after a few months she was straightforward about telling me all the things she wanted to do to me and let me do to her. For a while I was strictly, no. I do not get involved with married women. If you are unhappy in your marriage, deal with that. But they have 2 kids and she wanted to keep the family together. He is a good father and they live a pretty comfortable life. Slowly she wore me down. I live about 3 miles from the plant. She comes over at a minimum 3 days a week on her lunch break. We usually see each other both Saturday and Sunday too, though not always. We are friends on Facebook but never like each other's stuff or send messages. When I see new family pictures of them together, I burn with rage. When we do company stuff or have cookouts and she stands near him or sits with him and he touches her, it is all I can do to contain the seething anger. I usually overcome it by rationalizing to myself that I am actually the monster in this situation. Then I get angry at myself and can get over it quicker because eventually I redirect that anger toward her too. She knows I am angry, and the next day she will come over and make it up to me. 6 months ago, his boss, who is a regional director about 5 hours away, announced his retirement. He will be retiring in 3 months. My boss is definitely getting his spot. Their house is going up for sale soon and they will be moving. I am the one poised to take his position here at this plant. If we had ever been caught, or were to get caught now, I am sure I would be forced to resign, and the fallout would be ruinous for all parties. She is going with him. I can rationally say that we will all be better off. But I truly love her and would do nearly anything to have this play out in my favor. In the end, though, it may already have ruined me. When I sit alone and think about it, I absolutely hate myself for all of this and have for a long time. Lying and cheating is not part of my DNA. That I have been able to keep it up for so long makes me feel evil. In a lot of ways I hope I never forgive myself so that I am the only person who ever gets hurt by me. I cannot wait until she is gone but would give anything for her to stay. I never want to see her again. She will be here in about an hour. That I sometimes wish my mother would pass away. I love her, but she is such a terrible person to her family, her friends, and society in general, and I cannot stand it. She is almost abusive to her family. She calls all of us idiots, says she wishes she hadn't even given birth to me or my brother, and so on. She is also a raging alcoholic who everyone seems to just sweep under the rug and pretend does not exist. If she were to pass away, yes, it would be heart-wrenching and I would be inconsolable, but a part of me would be glad she was gone. She had open heart surgery around this time last year, and although I was worried the whole time that I was going to lose my mother, a part of me did not want her to make it through surgery. The reason this would destroy my life if it got out is because I would be completely disowned by my whole family and her friends. I would have to move out of state to start life anew. Because my mom knows everyone in this town where I currently live, she could easily get me fired from any job just because of who she knows. She also has control of my bank account. As of right now, I am changing this week, because she created it for me when I was 15. She has control over every facet of my life, and she could mess me up badly if it ever got out that I sometimes wished she would pass away. I haven't been attending university for the past 2 years, and no one knows it. My parents think I'm going to graduate this year, and I have no idea how long I can keep this up. I've been faking my results and fee statements, which they've believed, but I can't fake a diploma. Telling them isn't an option. I've messed up badly before this and wasted 2 years at another university. Then, when I started at my current one, I attended the wrong classes for half a year, and by the time I realized it, it was too late. I planned to reapply for the next year, but I wasn't accepted. My parents will literally kill me if they find out. It would destroy them. We're struggling financially, and they're counting on my brothers and me to start helping out. I'm looking for jobs in the meantime, but even if I get one, I won't be earning as much as I would with the degree. I seriously messed up.